Now, find the product. When they say find the product, what do they mean? Multiply. And when you're given two binomials and you're supposed to multiply them, what do you do? No, he did. Find the product. So, to find the product of two binomials, Marcus, what do? That's not an excuse. How do I find the product of two binomials? Double distribute. X times x is, no, x squared. Guys, it is not 2x at all, because think about it. This is a 1x and this is a 1x, and since you're multiplying, 1 times 1 is 1. X times x is x squared because each of their exponents is a 1, and you add them. X times negative 8 is negative 8x. 5 times x is positive 5x. 5 times negative 8 is negative 40. Now what will we do? Combine like terms. Drake, you have to ask to go to the bathroom. I didn't hear you. Okay, negative 8x plus 5x is, what's negative 8x plus 5x? Negative 3x. And then minus 40. Okay, so that's what we've been learning how to do. All of you should be pretty good at multiplying two binomials together. Today, what we're going to be learning is basically the opposite way. They're going to give you a problem that looks like this, and you're going to factor it, which means you're going to make it look like that. No, yesterday we factored binomials. Today we're factoring trinomials. Well, a binomial only has 2 terms. A trinomial has 3. Okay, so turn in your packet to page 14. All of these trinomials are in the same form. They're in standard form, which is ax squared plus bx plus c. Okay, so for example, in problem number 1, what number is sitting in the a place? 1. Isn't there a 1 sitting right here in the a place? Because a is the number beside x squared. A is the coefficient of the x squared. What number is sitting in the b place? A negative 1. Because it's minus x, so that's a minus 1x. And what number is sitting in the c place? Negative 20. Now, the only 2 numbers you really care about are the b and the c. The b is negative 1. The c is negative 20. The reason we don't really care about the a at this point is because it's a positive 1. So it's not going to make a difference with this type of trinomial. Now is where it's going to come in handy what we learned the other day. You're going to look for 2 numbers, and those 2 numbers have to multiply to give you your c value, which in this case is the negative 20, and those same 2 numbers must add to give you your b value, which is negative 1. Now, those 2 numbers are a 4 and a 5, but to add and make a negative 1 and multiply and make a negative 20, what kind of signs? Right, a negative 5 will work. So this is how you write the answer. X plus 4, because it's a positive 4, and x minus 5. Okay, go ahead and write that, and then I'm going to show you why that's the answer. Okay, so now I just want you to look. I don't want you to write anything. I just want you to watch, and I'm going to explain why these are the 2 factors for this trinomial. If I were to double distribute that right here, it would be x times x, which is x squared, x times negative 5, which is negative 5x, 4 times x, which is positive 4x, and 4 times negative 5, which is negative 20. Then if I combine my like terms, won't that become an x squared? Those will combine to be a negative 1x and then negative 20. And isn't that the trinomial that we were given to factor? That's why this is the answer, because those are the 2 binomials that would make this trinomial. So we're just doing the opposite way. Last week we were given the 2 binomials and we had to double distribute and find the trinomial. Today we're given the trinomial and we have to factor it into 2 binomials. Okay, so now let's look at number 3. Okay, remember, when your A is a positive 1, you don't really have to worry about it. Okay, because positive 1 is not going to change anything. What is your B value? 19. And what is your C value? 90. So you're looking for two numbers, and those two numbers must multiply to make your C value, which is 90, and they must add to make your B value, which is 19. Correct. 9 times 10 is 90, and 9 plus 10 is 19. So your binomials will look like this: an n plus 9 and an n plus 10. Emma, come up here. I'm going to have you make up a test. So make sure you bring your calculator and something to write with. Okay, so the reason that these are the two factors for this trinomial is because if I were to double distribute this, look what would happen, because I'm not going to write. I'm just going to speak through it. N times n produces that n squared. N times 10 makes a 10n. 9 times n makes a 9n. And a 10n and a 9n would make the 19n when you combine them. And then 9 times 10 makes the 90. So do you see what we're doing here? We're just trying to think about the two binomials that would make that trinomial if you multiply them together. That's what factoring is. Okay, now let's look at number 5. The A value is 1, so it's not a concern right now. It will only become a concern when it's not a positive 1. The B value is, and the C value is 24. So you're looking for two numbers, and they have to multiply to make your C value, which is 24, and they have to add to make your B value, which is correct. What numbers will do that? Won't make an 11. 8 and 3 will multiply to a 24, but will they add to a negative 11? Both of them need to be negative, because think about it. To be a positive, when you multiply, don't you either have to be multiplying a positive times a positive or a negative times a negative? So it's an r minus 8 and an r minus 3. Now, you could write r minus 3 first and r minus 8 second. That'll give you, that's the same answer. It doesn't matter which order the binomials are in, because think about it. They're touching, which is multiplication, and multiplication is commutative. You can multiply in any order. Any questions so far? Okay, let's look at number 7. The A is 1, so right now it's not a concern. What is the B? And what is the C? Can you leave her alone so she can pay attention? It's 16. So you're looking for two numbers, and those two numbers need to multiply to give you what? And add to give you what? 10. Right. Positive 8 and positive 2 will multiply to 16, and they will add to 10. So that's x plus 8 and x plus 2. It doesn't matter what order the binomials are listed in. All right, number 9. Okay, number 9, the A value is 1. So right now that's not a concern for us. The B value is what, Sion? And the C value is what? Okay? So we're looking for two numbers. And those two numbers need to multiply to give us what? And add to give us negative 3. And those will be our two factors. Okay, 7 and 10 are 3 units apart from each other. But to add them and get a negative 3, right. So our factors are r plus 7 and an r minus 10. Okay, I'm going to give you a couple of minutes, and I want you to attempt the 5 on the right side of this page by yourself. Okay, number 2. Who wants to give me their answer for number 2? Okay, Zaire? Yeah. Correct. Because the negative 9 times 4 is negative 36, and negative 9 plus 4 is negative 5. Okay? Now, if you wrote m plus 4, then m minus 9, that's also correct. It's the same thing. Who wants to give me their answer for number 4? Okay, Naya? Sure. It's mas. Not, what did you say, plus? That's not Spanish. I know, but I think you say mas. B más 7 y B más. Muy bien. Okay, number 6. Who wants to give me their answer in French? I'm just kidding. I don't know French, but you can tell me. Okay. This plus in French? Okay. Okay, number 8, Travis. Shh. Okay, Travis is giving us number 8. Okay. Okay, let's switch back to English. Very good. Okay, number 10 was the exact same as number 6, so it's just b plus 9, b minus 7. Or you may have wrote b minus 7, b plus 9. That's okay. All right, now turn to page 15. Who would like to go to the board and do number 11 on the board? Okay, Naya can. In a minute. Okay, Naya's going to work number 11 on the board. The video is still going, so... Speaker. That's fine. Marcus. Don't forget the negative on the 11. Marcus, turn around. Marcus, do I need to send an email saying that your parents should watch this video tonight? But they can hear me getting on to people. Depends on, like, reviews for tests get more than just the daily video. I don't really check it. I don't. Okay, that is incorrect. Tell us what's incorrect about it. Okay, Zaire? What's negative 9 plus 2, Naya? Negative 7. How can you make it a negative 11 when you add them? Both of them need to be negative. Because then... Oops. My pen was touching the board. That's why I did that. Okay. Okay, who wants to do number 13? Okay, Travis. Well, hey, go ahead. Very good. N plus 2, N plus 5, because 2 times 5 is 10, 2 plus 5 is 7. Who wants to do number 15? Okay, go ahead. Yeah, B is. I already see a small problem. Your B value. Right. That's going to make a 1 when you add them. 12 and 1 will make a 12 when you multiply, but will it make a 1 when you add? Okay, but, okay. If you're multiplying to get a negative, remember the signs need to be opposite. So 1 negative, 1 positive. Okay. Okay, and now write them as factors in 2 binomials. Okay, r minus 4, r plus 3 is correct. Okay, I'm going to do the other 2 because we're running low on time and I have something else to teach. Number 17, yes. We're looking for 2 numbers, and the 2 numbers must multiply to give you a negative 15 and add to give you a 2. Negative 3 and positive 5 will work because they multiply to make a negative 15 and they add to make a positive 2. Okay, what about number 19? They have to multiply to give you a 9 and they have to add to give you a negative 10. What numbers will do that? Negative 9 and negative 1. Okay, that was not. Okay, now turn your papers or your packets to page 16. Well, and it depends on how much of 16 we get through. Okay. Now, okay, so you noticed on the previous pages how every single A value was a 1, right? Every single A value was 1. Well, now on this page, the A values are greater than 1. Like, what's the A value in number 1? 2. So today, we're going to combine what we learned yesterday. We're going to factor out the greatest common factor. This is page 16. Okay, this is also not very hard as long as you're paying attention. When we go to factor out the greatest common factor, are you going to be able to pull an n out of all 3 terms? No, there's no n beside 108. So you're not going to be able to factor out a variable. You're just going to be able to factor out a number. What number will come out of 2, 6, and 108? 2. 2 will come out of 2 1 time, it'll come out of 6 3 times, and it'll come out of 108 54 times. So, okay, listen. You know how like when you're asked to distribute something, you're multiplying? Well, when you're factoring, you're basically undistributing it, so you divide. Okay, so watch. 2n squared divided by 2 is 1n squared. 6n divided by 2 is positive 3n. And negative 108 divided by 2 is negative 54. Because 2 comes out of 2 1 time. It comes out of 6 3 times. And it comes out of 108 54 times. Now look what we're left with. Doesn't that trinomial, now that we took 2 away from it, look like the trinomials from the previous page? So now we can look for two numbers that multiply to give us our new C value, which is, and add to give us our new B value, which is 3. What numbers will do that? Okay, 6 and 9, but what kind of signs? Negative 6. So it's going to be an n minus 6 and an n plus 9. The 2 is part of the answer. You have to have that 2 written there or it will not be correct. Now, the reason it wouldn't be correct if the 2 was not there is because, think about it. If the 2 wasn't there and somebody distributed this, is n times n going to give them 2n squared? No. But with the 2 there, once you do n times n, you get n squared, and once you multiply it by 2, you get the 2n squared. Okay, so now let's look at number 3. For this one, can you factor out a variable out of all 3 terms? A variable? No. Because with 2k squared, yeah, there's 2k sitting right there. And this one, there's 1k. But right here, there are no k's. So you're not going to be able to factor out a k. You're only going to be able to factor out a number. And what number will come out of all 3 terms? 2. Now, when you factor it out, you're dividing it out. Because it's the opposite of distributing. We're taking it out, and so we do the opposite of multiplication, which is division. 2k squared divided by 2 is just 1k squared. 22k divided by 2 is 11k. And then 60 divided by 2 is 30. So now that we've factored out that 2, which is still part of our answer, it just goes on the outside, we now have a trinomial that can be factored by looking for the b and the c. You're multiplying to get your c, which is, and you're adding to get your b, which is 11. 6 and 5 will do that. So your factors are k plus 6 and k plus 5. But the 2 has to also be part of the answer or it will not be correct. Because think about it, guys. When you went to do your last terms, 6 times 5 is 30. To make that 60, you need that 2 out there. Okay, now let's go up to number 2. Okay, go to number 2, which is the top right. What is the GCF for this one? What can be factored out of the trinomial? 5. When you factor it out, you're dividing it from each term, which leaves what trinomial? Plus 4. Okay, so now you're trying to find 2 numbers, and those 2 numbers multiply to give you a, and add to give you a 2. What 2 numbers will do that? Okay, 2 times 2 is 4. Is 2 plus 2 2? No. No, okay, no. This one cannot be factored. So if you ran into a problem like that, this would be the final answer. That's as far as you can take it. All right, number 4. Number 4, there's a typo. So look up here. They forgot to put the exponent 2 right there. So now let's try it. What can be factored out? What's the GCF? 5. 5 can come out of all 3 terms evenly. When you take it out of 5v squared, you're left with v squared. When you take it out of negative 30v, you're left with v. And when you take it out of 40, you're left with positive a. Now that you have a trinomial with an a value of 1, because you took out the 5, you can factor it by the method we learned a second ago. Look for 2 numbers that multiply to give you a 8 and add to give you a negative 6. What numbers will do that? Negative 4, negative 2. So it's v minus 4, v minus 2. Do you need me to do one more of these? Nobody? One more? Okay. All right. Number 5. What is the GCF? 2. 2 can be taken out of all 3 terms evenly. And when you take it out of 2p squared, 2p, and 4, what trinomial remains? P squared plus 1p in which you don't really have to write that one, but you can, and then minus 2. Now that we've done that, we're dealing with a trinomial with an a value of 1. So we can factor it by looking for two numbers that multiply to give you your c value, which is now, and add to give you your b value, which is now. What numbers will do that? Yes, they will. Well, it's 1 and 2 because 2 is prime, but to make a positive one, you need this number negative. Okay, so it's p minus 1 and p plus 2. And so that's the final answer. Your homework, which we still have a few minutes before we're going to switch out, is to finish this page and page 15. So it's 8 total problems. You need to start working on it now until I say switch out.